Hello, everybody. My name is Fred, and today we're going to be talking about development organizational marketing objectives. That's our unit for today, and we're just going to run with it straight away. Let's get ourselves started. And here we go. So as we go into this assignment, the first thing that I want you to get is get your assignment out and get your, LMS open. Make sure your LMS is open there. Get a pen and paper. Jot down some few things, because as we travel along this assignment, there are quite a lot of theories, there are quite a lot of models that I'd like you to take grasp of. I want you to be aware of, because these models that are put in there and some of these concepts, they'll help you answer the questions. We're going to talk things like PEST, we're going to talk things like SWOT, we're going to talk things a lot of Porter's 5 forces. These are all part of the models. They're going to help you answer the questions that are in this assignment. This unit has got 4 assessments, and we're really going to speed through. Fasten the seat belts. Let's get going, get ready, get sharp, get quick, and get moving. Let's go. Right, today's purpose is I'm going to break down all the 4 assessments. We're going to move it very quickly. And like I said, get a pen and paper. It's quite a big assessment, so we need to move fast. And so I'll be breaking down, I'll be giving you models, I'll be giving you concepts, I'll be giving you the tools to be able to answer the questions into this assessment. You're right, okay. How will this run? I'll read the questions, get you to understand what it is, and then bang, we're going to the models, so that you understand where these models are coming from and why I have these models, and they'll help you understand and help to answer the questions. Right, and so how can I get most of this webinar? Like I said, get a pen and paper, get your hearing plugs on, got your assessment, got your questions there. And if you don't have questions, stop right now. Stop right now. Go open the LMS, understand what the question is, have it in front of you, because otherwise it's going to be very, very difficult for you to follow and very difficult to catch up with this, because I'm going to be moving fast. I want you to get ready. I want you to pass this one. Right, okay. What happens after the webinar? After the webinar, I'll suggest before you even answer the questions, go back to your notes, go back to the thing that I've spoken about, understand what SWOT is, understand what PEST is, understand what Porter's 5 forces are. Don't worry about the word Porter's 5 forces. I'll show you on the website. They'll show you on the PowerPoint. You'll be able to know exactly what I'm talking about when I say Porter's 5 forces. Let's get started. Let's get started. Okay, let's go. Right. Now, so before you even get to say what is a mission statement, because this is part of the question, what I'll do right away now is take you to the assessment. Let's read and find out what does the assessment say. Let's go to a new share, and let's go to our assessments, and let's get there. Which one could this be? This could be that. Let's try that. Let's try that. Do we get that? No. Okay, let's try another. Let's try another here. Another new share of the document. This one. Not yet. Not that one. So getting the same one. Let's try that. No, it's not. Get there. So let's try again another fresh share of this assessment. And let's try that. See if, so we're not getting what we're looking for here. But if you have your assessments ready, you could probably just help me there in getting it all sorted out. So just bear with me 1 second. Yes, we got task one right in front of us. Task one in front of us. So let's go read what it is talking about. Task one, identify the organization's current strategic direction. It is important that we read the question together so that then when we break it down and show you how to answer that, we are following me as we go through it. So using techniques learned throughout the course, you have to select an existing medium to large size company of your choice. Must be a real company that is annual reports and other public documents you can use this company in the activities throughout. So right off from the beginning, right from the start, what is it saying? Choose a company of your choice. Must be an international company, or if you want to choose an Australian company, but it's got to have annual reports, public documents that you can view and find on the internet. And do not choose companies which do not have any records that you cannot access. So you might like KFC, but you need to find out, does KFC's things like a mission statement available? Is there a vision statement over there? Do they have like a marketing report or something like their marketing objectives? So before you choose any company that you want to do, well, if you think of a company, go to the net and look if they've got any annual reports and read their websites and see whether it meets the requirements here. Because you'll be required to describe and analyze the chosen company's mission, purpose, vision, and values. So make sure the company you've chosen, they've got these things: the mission, the company's values, the company's objectives, and their marketing plan, and what is probably their strategies as well. So most of these things are now freely available. And you're also to sort the most recently available data to support your report, which may include articles, charts, tables, etc., from company representative, industry, and others. So you don't have to go to the company itself, but like we say, if you choose a company that have got all this information on the net, makes it available. You know, companies like Apple, companies like Toyota, companies like Philips. You got a whole range of companies there. Ford Motor Company, they're all very international, and even companies like Zara. You could choose, quite a plethora of companies for you to choose there. Most important thing is you got to make sure that company has got basic mission statement. So part A, you're going to be writing, you've got to provide a brief introduction of the company. That means this company produces this particular product, these are the services they offer. So it needs, as you can see, provide the name of the company, brief background, where is their headquarters, confirm the organization's current mission and purpose, describe the company's vision, search relevant social media and describe what they're saying about the company. So there could be company reviews that you're going to have to research and find out what the people say, what are the annual reports saying, what does the stock markets talk about it, and what are the views, and which direction. So provide a comment on the company's direction, where they're going. So you've got to source and analyze company's directions and targets, which will all be in the public domain. Situational analysis, that means there's a metrics there that you're going to download, right? And download those metrics, which will help you to do situational analysis. And competitive analysis, again, it's a competitive analysis. We're going to be talking about who are the competitors, who are the company that is you have chosen, who are they competing with in that industry? If it's in the motor industry, if you've chosen Toyota, who is Toyota competing with? Maybe on the types of luxury vehicles, maybe they're competing with, are they competing with Mercedes-Benz? Are they competing with BMW? Are they competing with Kia? And if you have chosen, maybe you've chosen an airline, Qantas, who are Qantas's competitors on the international market. Whether it's a clothing company you've chosen, like Zara and most of the other new ones coming up, what is the market like in Australia, international, and then now, I'm going to go and show you to say, what are these situational analysis? What is this mission and vision? What does this mean? Because once you understand where I'm going to take you to, on your situational analysis, you're going to talk about the economy, the social standing, the technical, the industry, which is a PAST, right? Which is a PAST, P-A-S-T. So let's go to the PowerPoint where I can take and show you how you can dissolve and design your own past and various things there. Right. So we are on the PowerPoint. This is where I'm taking you. Right. We're there together. And let's start from the full slide. Right. What is a mission statement? So as you have read there, you got to choose a company that has got information in the public domain. And this company that it shows, you should verify that their mission statement is clearly articulated on their documents that are available on the internet. So a mission statement determines the company's direction. It tells us where the company wants to go. Mission statement serves as a North Star that keeps everyone clear on the direction of the organization. And so there's an article, by Glenn Smith, talks about the 7 reasons why a company needs a mission statement. So I'll probably just want to read for you and tell you why does a company need a mission statement and what it is. So Glenn writes and says that a mission statement, it determines company's direction. Yes, we've understood that. It focuses the company's future. So it tells us about what they want to do in the future. So, and a lot of people might refer this to as a vision. And also a mission statement provides a template for decision making. Whenever companies or the board of directors have to make a decision, they look at the mission statement and say, is this part of what we do? Is this part of what we really said to the market or to the people or to our consumers that this is what we're on about? It is a clear mission sets important boundaries, which enables business owners to delegate both responsibility and authority. Mission is to the company what a compass to an explorer is. So when we talk about the explorer, long back, before flying was something that was regular, and there were no airplanes. Then people relied on ships, traveling, crossing different oceans and the seas, whether they were fishing or they were going to adventures, they relied on a compass. And they'll say, when I go north, east, or if where they were going north or south. And the only way to determine whether they were on the right path was to use a compass. And so the mission statement becomes the company's compass. And some might say, not only that is it just an objectivity, but it is a company that guides everyone in the organization of how they must deal with the customer and how they market, because if the mission statement is to market goods for young people, for young adults. So obviously, if another innovation comes that does not meet that criteria, that means they're not going to spend money into it. And it forms basis for alignment. So when companies want to align, there's so many products that come on the market, there's so many scenarios that come, or so many crises that organizations face. The first and foremost thing that comes to mind is what aligns with our mission statement? How do we achieve our goals? Does this help us achieve our mission? And it welcomes helpful change. Whenever change comes, people look at their mission statement and say, does it fall in line with what we said we're going to do? Yes, it falls in line. Yes, it helps us get there. Yes, it helps us move faster. Then that becomes part of it. And it shapes strategy. Every organization, they have strategy that they use in order to achieve what they need to do. And without a mission statement, it's difficult for some of them to say, well, what strategy can we use? Are we sort of like breaking our own principles or our own guidelines? And it also helps with improvement. So that's your mission statement there. So remember, mission statement is your compass. It gives direction to the company. Now, we're going to talk about examples of marketing objectives. As you can see in the assignment there, you'll be asked to give examples of marketing objectives. So if you've chosen any, for instance, Samsung, you look at what is their marketing objectives. Here are some of them. It could be achieve revenue growth of 15% per year for the next 4 years. That's a marketing objective. What do we mean by objective? This is what the company is going to spend money to achieve. So they're saying, well, this year, our aim is to achieve 15% revenue growth, or we want to increase our market share by 4%, by 2020. So as you can see, it's very specific, it's very targeted, and it's time bound. You got the year there, 2020, and it's 4%. And it makes it clearer to those that are following or those that are managing and making decisions. Or it could be add 1,000 new customer accounts, generating at least 100,000, not just any customer account, but this is how much you want to generate, within 3 years, or achieve at least 95% excellent customer service. So your customer service department might have a marketing objective, say, hey, we want to achieve 95%. So that means when you budget money for marketing objectives, you are saying the return we're expecting is 4% market share, 95% excellent customer service, an increase in proportion of sales, booking for repeat business, 45%. So whatever funds that you put in for marketing objectives, say, look, this is what we expect to get. This is what we are targeting. This is where we are going. This is our destiny. This is what needs to be achieved. And everybody in the company then has to align with those objectives. Now, situational analysis, there's this, a question there, and the metrics that you're going to fill in for situational analysis. Now, in the situational analysis, what we're talking about is PEST, P-E-S-T. P stands for political factors. E stands for economic factors. S for social factors, and T for technological factors. So what are political factors? These are, the government stability. For instance, in Australia, it's quite a good place for investors, because when they look at the political scenario, politics is stable, the government is stable, and though we have elections, and you can't tell there's no difference in the economic factors when there's a change of government. What do I mean by that? In other countries, when elections are held and a different party or a different leader comes in, certain international agreements are broken. For instance, certain investment things get cut off because everyone comes out with their own ideas. And most of those, well, it doesn't mean that governments don't come with ideas. They come with ideas, but there are countries where the ideas are so drastic that they'll say from now on, taxes 35%, or from now on, we do not like international companies. From now on, the remittance of funds has been reduced or affected. Whereas, countries like Australia, New Zealand, and most of all the other developed countries, where the political factors are so stable that it doesn't matter who really is running the country, there's a respect and an integrity to what's already existing. And when you talk about also that's the rule of majority, we're talking of democracy here, taxation policies. Since I've been here, since everybody's been around, you find that the taxation policies are not drastically changed. And so you'll find that the company tax regime, personal tax regime has been in existence for a long time, and your international investors do not expect for things to change overnight. And therefore, the stability of that and the continuity and perpetuity of what already exists is what attracts your investors, because then there's no risk of probably person coming into power and nationalizing all the assets and nationalizing all the private companies and maybe dishing out to their comrades and stuff like that. So therefore, when you talk about political factors, we're actually looking at the political stability of a country. So, and also regulation and deregulation trends. So, markets, investors, they like to invest in markets that are properly regulated, that are fair, and there's a sanctity of private property, a sanctity of private investors, and the respect of them having to remit their own money at an agreed percentages or agreed timelines. And where corruption, obviously, levels of corruption are very, very low or non-existent at all. There are countries where, in order to do business, you have to sort of grease the palms of the political giants in those places. And so they really, it's ease of initiating a business deals in open countries like Australia, New Zealand, and many other countries. And we then want to look at economic factors. We're looking at stage of business cycle, the impact of globalization, labor costs, change in economic environment. So as we can see, once you have your political factors that are very stable, generally what follows is a stable economic trend. And as you appreciate, most of the economic trend, most of the economic activity is bound by the regulations that are put in by politicians. So if those regulations are stable and consistent, you find that the economic activity that is obviously bound to regulation begins actually to sort of move at a pace that is very encouraging, that is very steady. for investors, they know they can invest and expect to reap returns in 10, 20 years, and nothing will really drastically change and they'll not lose money. And that is why a lot of international investors, they look at pets and say, what are the risks? They look at the risk factors of investing in certain countries and say, well, I would invest in that country because any slight political upheaval, my investment is blown up. And then we look at social factors. Social factors now looking at the population, the growth, and you're looking at the gender and ethnic diversity. You look at social welfare, economic disparity, and digital disparity. And some of the social factors you look at as well. Say, for instance, if you're in the clothing industry and maybe you sell lingerie for ladies and what have you, you look and say, in this country, when you're doing your pest analysis, I am into lingerie. For instance, we've got shops like Peter Alexandra. So if Peter Alexandra was going to sell maybe somewhere in any country, you look and say, socially, my clothes are the lingerie is really socially accepted that I can sell to the public. There are countries you can't sell some of the lingerie openly in a glass shop. For instance, if you were to sell stuff into the Middle East, the laws over there actually dictate that in a women's shop, a man will not be able to sell women's lingerie. So you look at those social factors and say, well, am I able to operate in that environment? Can my business succeed in that environment? And it might be even with the food. You look at social factors. You go to a country where maybe the beef, the burger is to be halal, or you go to a country where probably they don't eat beef, it's associated with some religious connotations or religious beliefs. So you look at your social factors and say, well, is this something that I can deal with? Is this something that I can actually work with? Is this something that I can maybe model? So let's look at the beef factor. If you're operating in a country where everybody has to eat what is allowed, you probably have to look for halal certification and do what is necessary to make sure that you meet those social factors. There are instances where organizations cannot meet the social factors, and obviously they have to say, well, we can't operate here. But generally, so when you do your PES for the organization that you choose, you've got to look at the social factors. How is the product accepted? How does the product fall into that social realm in that country or where they operate? How acceptable is that product? And does it sort of play against any of the beliefs? Does it play against any of the psychological factors in that country? And so that then you do not upset other people and lose clientele. And then you go to technological factors, which are obviously very easy to understand. You're looking at your research and development. You look at your emerging technologies, impact technology transfer, diffusion, disruption. So you're saying, well, for instance, if you wanted to bring in a particular model of car or a particular model of phone, the first thing you look and say, is that country technologically advanced that my equipment can actually operate in there? My equipment, will I get skilled, people that are skilled to operate this equipment? Is there enough technology to back up what I'm doing? For instance, if it's equipment, when it needs repairs, you'll be looking and say, well, how technological advanced will this country, will it be able to maintain my factory facilities from the technology point of view? Now, POTAS 5 forces, this is what I was talking about when I did an introduction, and I said we'll be talking about POTAS 5 forces. Well, you'll see in one of your analysis, there is a similar concept there which they want you to do, where you talk of threat of new entry. Now, that is called POTAS 5 forces. It doesn't matter what they call it, doesn't matter what it is, but I want you to keep this slide and compare it with one of your matrices that you have to fill in there and look and say, wow, this is similar to what Fred is talking about. So when we talk about POTAS 5 forces, we're saying to organizations, even there will be investors or there will be innovators, they look and say, if I have this product, or if I go into this country, right, the threat of new entry, what do we mean? We say the time and cost of entering into that industry. Say a telco, a telephone company, we say, what is the cost of entering into the telco industry? Motor industry, what is the cost of entering into that marketplace? So, because it takes time. There's some industries where it's really, it might take you 3, 4, 5, 6 years to actually get a foothold in that industry. So look at how difficult is it to get in that industry? How much does it cost to get a foothold in that industry? So some of you are talking about cost. We talk about specialist knowledge. So if you want to get into the airline industry, you'll be looking and say, what are the barriers? What are the things that I need to have? How much does it cost? Is the technology protected? What are the barriers to entry? What are the economies of scale? If you went into the airline industry, you want to look and say, where do I get the oil? Or how do I get rides to an airport? How do I get information about passengers? Where will be my, my departure lounge, my arrivals? And so you look at all that and say, if I have to enter, how much will it cost me? How long will it take me? And what are the advantages and disadvantages? So you're looking generally your barriers. Now, once you're in there, okay, let's assume you can enter, and you look and say, whilst I'm in there, who are my competitors? So, which is competitive rivalry. See, the number of competitors in the industry, the quality of differences. You're talking about the airline, you'll be talking about there's Emirates, there's Etihad, and there's Tiger, and there's Qantas, there's Virgin. You'll be saying, where do I want to position my product? Am I positioning it at the higher end of town? Am I positioning it right in the middle? Or is it something that I'm going to position it very low? Like Tiger, they position themselves, say, look, we're the cheapest, we'll get you there at $60, $70 to Melbourne, we're going to get you there. And so those are the differences you're going to compare with the people in the industry. Obviously, you won't find, there will be some similarities, but it's going to be what are the major differences of all those competitors. So you look and say, what are the differences in these competitors, at what point, and how are they competing against each other? What is their competitive advantage that each and every one of them is using? Then once you've done that, you say, well, buyer power. What do we mean by that? We're talking about the number of customers, the size of each order, the differences between competitors, right? Price sensitivity, ability to substitute, and cost of changing. So when you look at buyer power, now we're saying, in short, do the buyers have the power over you, over your business? There are businesses where consumers do not have control, do not even have power. For instance, when I caught the train this morning, we as consumers do not have power to change or give ideas to Railcorp. They have a monopoly. They're the only ones. So if we need to come to work, we have to wait for that train. So, and they can tell us tomorrow the tickets have gone up by 10%. We can't boycott because it will be at our own peril. We have nowhere else to go. But then there are businesses in which the consumer has more power. You can withdraw your purchasing power from that shop or from that organization, and they can feel the pinch. Or where you can go demand a discount, where you can go demand to be heard and demand for a change and say, you know what, if this doesn't change, I'm not coming here anymore. And suddenly, by you withholding your wallet to yourself, in a sense, you're actually having power to the organization. Third of substitution. What are we talking about here? We're talking about you might have a product, and this product can easily be substituted. And for instance, we're going to talk about another example that we had. There's what's called Northwest Airlines in the United States. So part of their mission was, look, we want to take you to your destination just as if you go by car. So what they're saying is, instead of you driving, the cost of you driving from LA, maybe to Washington or to Las Vegas, we're going to fly you. So if the airline looks and say, if we don't fly, what alternative can the customers use? Or if we are too expensive for consumers to fly with us, do they have an alternative? Yes, they'll drive to become too expensive. Take, for instance, Sydney to Melbourne. If there was a fast train and one of those bullet trains, you'll have a choice to say, well, if the airline is costing me $500 to get to Melbourne, I'll catch a bullet train that probably might be costing you maybe $200. And so when you say sort of substitution, we are saying, well, can this product be substituted? Can that service be substituted by something else that customers might go and say, well, I have a choice, I can do this. So the same thing that we have like with their videos and movies and the different things that we have. Now, we have a choice. If you don't want to go to the movie, you can have Netflix. And if you don't want to get a hard DVD, you can still go to someone online and you can purchase your video that you want to watch, purchase the movie online, and you can watch it. So with people in those kind of businesses, companies, those kind of businesses, they've come to realize, yes, it might be easy to enter the business. The customers have choices of what they can do. So that means the threat of substitution is very, very high. Therefore, you have now to be given either top-level service or the best product that you can have, because otherwise, well, customers will just substitute you. They just choose something else other than your product. So when you look at a company that you're going to choose, look at all these things. Can it be replaced? For instance, if you chose Coca-Cola, you'll be saying to yourself, well, in drinking a Coca-Cola, can this drink be substituted? If you go into a bar or go into a restaurant, look how many choices we have. So if Coca-Cola doesn't, bode well with you, or they don't keep themselves afloat, innovating, coming up with new ideas, keep themselves marketing, they can easily be replaced. You can simply, go use and take another product. And then supplier power. This is where we're talking about. Again, let me go back to the example of airlines. The airlines, their prices generally is dependent on the price of oil. And therefore, they rely on an organization called OPEC, the oil producing export countries. And so these countries get together and say, well, we're selling a barrel of oil, $150 or $80. And so with the price of oil, when they change it and it becomes very expensive, without doubt, with no time wasted, the airlines will automatically raise the price of tickets. And therefore, what do they say? The supplier of oil has the power, and you as a company that has got aeroplanes do not have power at all. And we as customers to that airline, we do not have power at all. So what we're saying is, what we say really does not impact the oil producing countries, does not impact the price of oil. And that's just one example. But there are situations where, I can give you another example, Woolworths and the dairy farmers. The dairy farmers found themselves in a position where if they needed to sell their milk to Woolworths and Co., and they have to say, I'll buy to what Woolworths is saying. So, well, I'll buy your, for instance, I'll buy your milk at $1.50. Right, take it or leave. If they don't sell the milk to Woolworths with all their branches and so forth, who are they going to sell to? Well, they might go and sell to somebody else. There's IGA, the group of groceries. But how big will those orders be? So farmers will really go broke. So you find them taking a low price deal. Why? Because now here, the buyer has the power. And so we want to, when you look at the company that you've chosen and you do this analysis to tell us, does the company has the power? Does the supplier has the power? Does the customers have the power? Who has the power here? So, for instance, you might have a number of suppliers that might get together and say, okay, guys, like I gave you OPEC, okay, guys, this is how much we're going to sell. So you have suppliers that might form a union or form an organization, and they have some agreed prices and agreed terms of operations. So that is what is called Porter's 5 forces. And again, go out there, research this, get in detail. Most international companies already, they have their Porter's 5 forces, they have their SWOT analysis, they have their pest analysis, and because you're not cooking these facts there. We are taking what's already been put on the company's website or what's already been researched, and most of this stuff, it exists. Just Google and type, if you choose Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola's, pest, Coca-Cola, Porter's 5 forces, and industry analysis. And then you have what is called Ansof's matrix. Now, when you look at this, what are we looking at? We're saying when an organization is wants to bring in some products. There are various issues and various things that they look at. This matrix helps us to look at when a company is marketing to say, are they going to look for new markets? Right? So if they have a product, they may say, look, are they looking for new markets, or they're going into existing markets? So an organization has a product, right? And they want to penetrate a market. So it's market penetration. Penetrate existing markets, gain a market share, sell more to existing. So it could be a situation where Apple already has a phone, iPhone 7, and they're saying, okay, iPhone 7 is doing very well here. We want to take it to Asia. We want to take it to Africa, right? So it's already an existing product, which probably they're taking into a market which they didn't have before. And again, taking the example of Apple, when they have a new product, they develop a new product, they are taking a new product into an existing market. And we have Samsung taking also, again, their new products, their new innovation into an existing market. Right. So you find Apple, they'll come to the same customers that bought the iPhone 5, now say, now we're selling the iPhone 6, now we're following the iPhone 7, and I understand now there's iPhone 8, which is on the throes of being released. So already, this is a new product, but they're not penetrating a new market. They are selling into an existing market. And then on the right-hand side, we have the new products and services. So your product development is like, you want to sell more to current customers and products. This is already what we're talking about. Well, in the case of Apple, the phone is not a new product, but it's just a new model, as you say. Well, this is an upgraded level of phone. The services that iPhone 6, iPhone 5 will give you are still the same, but then the product is new in the sense that there's been new additions to an existing service and new additions to an existing product. So it has been enhanced, so to speak. And so they'll say, well, we've got this enhanced product that we want to now sell into our existing market. And there are times where they take this enhanced product and say, well, you know, we never had new markets before. There's a new market we're going to have. For instance, most companies are vying to get into China because it's a huge market, you know, 1.3, 1.4 billion people. And, you know, and it's huge and it's forever growing. So imagine if one person is to buy a phone, probably every year, 1.4 billion people with a phone. And if your phone is costing $1,000, multiply that, the figures are staggering. And then there's diversification on the right-hand side. Diversify your business portfolio. That means you're leveraging core competencies. So what you're saying when you're diversifying, like when Apple came in, they were selling us the iPod, and then they come and selling us the iPhone, and then they come and say, well, they went into iPad, right? And they're also into computers. You can buy the laptop from there. And so companies like iPhone might say, okay, we're diversifying. We're now selling software. We're now probably doing network services like IBM. IBM now, they're more into servers. And of course, they're still into laptops, but not as much as when they started before, when they're solely into computers and mainframes and so on. Now they've changed and they put their focus on servers, and it's a huge market with cloud computing, and most of the places where I've worked and I've seen servers, they're mainly IBM servers. And Apple, I haven't heard of any Apple servers. So we're talking here of gigantic organizations that need to put their data and to house that data into one particular place, and where that is a controlling factor, where it's, you know, all different departments are integrated. So that's your ANSOF matrix. And again, I urge you to research on this. You know, the pest, I'm just going to go back. I really love this map here. Situ pest analysis, porous 5 forces, ANSOF matrix. Please learn these, keep these principles, and know these models, because as you continue studying, going further and further into semester 2, you find yourself being asked to do a pest analysis, SWOT analysis, Porter's 5 forces. So I'll rather, at this point, grab it, understand it, and let it be part of your DNA. And then you've got market opportunity analysis. Now, of course, your assignment is asking you about, you know, pick 2 opportunities that you can find there. And why I'm going through this, these PowerPoints enable you to fill in those matrices that we have. They help you to answer the questions in there. So market opportunity analysis, what does this look like? For instance, you've got a customer. And so you say, you need to identify the unmet or underserved customer need. So for most customers, there's certain needs that have not been met, or those needs have really have not been analyzed and met or looked into. And to identify the specific customers a company will pursue. So like McDonald's will be saying, well, we want to pursue the child and sell burgers to children, and that is our market. High schoolers and yes, high schoolers and probably those in primary school, and that is their market. So they analyze, say, what will this customer of mine want? What will really appetize them as far as food? What are things they require? So you find when kids go to McDonald's, they cry for toys, they cry for different things. That's why I find McDonald's, they've got a clown outside, and they've got some playthings, so kids can have birthdays. So they're catering to their market. They say, well, what will make my market tick? What will make my market come to my place? So, marketing, there are 4 P's. There's the price, there's the promotion, there's the place, and there's the product. And so they look at that and say, your product, what is the price on the product? Where is it sold, being the place, second P. And 3, what is the promotion? How is this product promoted? And what is the product itself? So when you get to competition, you say the access advantage relative to competition. You assess the advantage relative to say what is my advantage? What is my competitive advantage over my competitors? That means, what is that unique thing in my product that will separate it from the rest of the other products on the shelf? What is the unique service I'm giving to the customer that they'll choose me over everybody else? So what's your competitive advantage? And then as a company, you've got to assess your company resources to deliver what you offer. What resources do we have? What resources should we have if we don't have those resources? Or what skills should we have in order to compete successfully? And then we're going to look at the required technology and in the marketplace. Then you specify opportunities in concrete terms. What is the opportunity? Maybe the opportunity is growth. Maybe you can see the young adults population is growing. And you might say, well, that is really a huge booster. And look at India. Most organizations look at India and say the middle class in India is growing so exponentially that most businesses, when they look and say, do I have products for a middle class? They have those products, go to Bombay, go to New Delhi. You'll see they've identified that their customer who is in the middle class, who's growing and is really aspiring to what are the things they want. They want technology, they want cars, they want the lifestyle, they want jewelry. And so companies within that space, when they study their customer, they're not only studying with the customer in their country, they say, well, where do I find this customer? Where is that customer really stays? For instance, when companies that design cars, they're not designing cars just for themselves in that country. They design Lamborghinis, Mark 1. Their customer base, the intended customer could be in Asia, could be in the Middle East. They say, well, they've got people with a lot of money, black gold, which is your oil, and they say, well, they're rolling in so much of money from oil. What would they want to buy? And what sort of people are these? Are they married? Are they young? Are they chief executives? What sort of lifestyle do they want? What sort of lifestyle do they aspire to? And do my products fit in with that? If they don't fit in, some company will go out of their way to actually design something that suits a particular grouping of customers. So as with technology, we spoke of the iPhones and latest thing. So, and then once we're still there are frameworks that will help you answer these questions. So in advanced diploma, it's not just a matter of saying, yes, this is good, yes, that. You have to base your questions, you have to base your answers on a framework or on a model. you have to base it on some researched and tested and tried principles. So McKinsey 7S framework is something that I really want you to grasp and have a hold on. Because wherever you go, if you intend to go into university, Mackenzie's is spoken of, from the day you enter the university to the day you leave. And even in most companies, when you work at a senior level, you'll be using Mackenzie's 7S framework when you're designing different models, or when you're designing different leadership programs. So the strategy, you say, what is the strategy? Strategy is the plan devised to maintain and build competitive advantage over the competition. So, like we say, Tiger Airways, their strategy was to come in at a low price, $49, $50, $79 to Melbourne, or Adelaide, or Gold Coast. So that was their strategy to penetrate into the market. And structure, the way the organization is structured and who reports to whom. So organizational chart. System, the daily activities and procedures that staff members engage to get the job done. What are the daily activities that they do to get the job done? And you're going to look at shared values. What are the shared values in an organization? Shared values are called, subordinate goals. When this model first developed, the core values of the company were evidence as culture and the working and generic ethic. And style, leadership style, is it democratic style? Does the leader's dictatorial tendencies? What sort of style does your leader use in terms of leading? Again, when you talk of style, there's various leadership styles. I want you to research there. And when you're at a senior level, everyone wants to know, what is your style? And how are you going to lead this organization? What do you believe in? What are your ethos and your principles? And the staff, that's the employees, and the general capabilities. So your staff and their skill base. Skills, the actual skills and competencies of the employees for the working for the company. What skills do you have in the organization? So marketing objectives, they've got hierarchy. You might have a lot of ideas, a lot of things that you want to achieve, but they're put into groups. For instance, corporate objectives, maybe grow revenues by 50%. Marketing objectives, for instance, this UK company was to grow the market share by 17%. Marketing strategies, refocus product range, introduce customer relations program their systems into industrial division. Marketing tactics, how are you going to get this thing done? That is, improve agreements with key suppliers, conduct search engine advertising. And obviously, these are some of the research done by an organization called Tutor to You. So I think we're just going to go and do some recap here. And let's see what we need to recap. There's a lot of matrices that you need to complete. And let me see if we can just show you one of those matrices. Yes, the competitive analysis matrix, which this is in relation to Porter's 5 forces. Porter's 5 forces. This is the matrix that we are sharing. So go to Porter's 5 forces, research it, or use the one that I put here on this webinar and to enable you to complete this. The second will be, you're going to complete market opportunity assessment metrics. So what is the market opportunity? What are the opportunities that you're seeing here? And every organization will have different opportunities. Maybe the opportunities are in technology. Maybe the opportunities can be viewed best by the growth in maybe population growth. The opportunities could be the country's economy is growing and you see the population having more and more disposable incomes and being able to spend some money on products. And it could be the viability of the business, seeing how viable it is. And you've got to choose in, say, how does this fit with organizational business and goals and capabilities? So if the goal was to increase market share, if the goal was probably to increase revenues, how does it fit? And then you go to your risk analysis. What is the risk in this with this objective? Is the risk maybe the country's economy might change? What is the risk? Maybe the risk might be this country, a particular country you have chosen, maybe they rely more on mining, and you might say, well, the risk is when the mining boom goes down, a lot of people will be laid off, and there'll be less finances for people to spend on the product. And maybe the risk is the skill base. You might say, well, we don't have people skilled enough to be able to produce the goods that we want to produce or maintain our poor position. Situational metrics, this is your past. As you can see, economic, social, technological, industry, and legal and ethical. It generally is asking you to do a pest analysis, which we've covered there before. So just as a wrap up, here, what I would urge you is to do is to say, okay, let's look at, look at your analysis, go and research thoroughly, PEST, SWOT, ANSOF, McKinsey's, and use those frameworks to answer the question that you're giving. Mission statements and values and vision. What is the organization vision? What are their objectives? And remember just to actually delve into it, and a thorough research will enable you to get this thing done in a jiffy. And having said that, where do you go from here? Where you go from here? Obviously, like I said, from here right now, go and do your research, find your organization, find your company, and do all the things that we spoke about earlier on. And once you've done that and you've chosen your organization, now it's time for you to do your assignment. Well, if you get into trouble, probably there, just call us, or you can send an email on student_support@fceducationalgroup.com, or you can call us on 1300-050-589. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being with me, and have a lovely assignment day and enjoy your studies. Wish you good luck. Bye-bye.